Alright, so here I have those maps attached, and I want to kind of show you one thing when you're doing textures. Now keep in mind, any game engine feeds off contrast. Okay, so it's got to be kind of a contrasty piece in order to draw the eye. You can see the difference here. I have a contrast piece here, and these have little white dots in them every once in a while. You can see that contrast build up compared to photorealistic in the background. Okay, so it's a couple different types of styles laid on top of each other. So how do I kind of bridge those styles? And how did I get the contrast in there? And I'll show you that too. So in GIMP, let's go in here. I'm looking for a very specific file here. Ah, there it is, building top. Okay, that's in the background. So how I did that was I simply took the background or the OCC and put it on multiply, just like always. Okay, I have one called addition, and that's at 14%. But then I took this crazy layer. I said, well, you know, I'm just going to get some rust texture. So there's some rust texture, and I put that on overlay. Here's my original. So usually I just taught you how to do this, but really you should put some dirt in there, and that's what this layer does. It's on overlay. It's just rust. You can use anything really, rust, rocks, whatever, as long as it's uniformed. In other words, you can see this at full opacity. So there's no weird anomalies within this at all. That's uniformed. So layer your textures and play around. And if it's the same part, you have to do that like 4 times or how many number of pieces. So each one of these parts, I have to do the very same thing. I always have to add this rust layer to each part and then reduce it using the opacity and etc. and so forth. So they are all the same color in the end. You can see here's the difference. I haven't done this piece yet. You can see there's no contrast buildup compared to the contrast here and the contrast here. What about the brick? Well, the brick is really too perfect. I mean, yeah, it doesn't even match well with the other thing. So with that, I would say it's time to open up the brick . And that is brick high res. I'll open that up. And I'm going to go get a texture. So that brick is open in the background. I'm getting a texture here. I can probably go to miscellaneous and look for some stuff. So don't be picky about this. That's the number one thing. You'd be surprised on how well things turn out, just with happy accidents. I like that, but I'm going to go back up here. I like this grunge stuff. It's got a pine cone in it. Oops. Bad photographer. Okay. If you are unsure about what to use, metal noise works well no matter what. Copy this image. Paste it in. And take this and stretch it out. Okay. I need to zoom out. Huh. Try that again. Must have had to hit scale. Oops. So this is a huge map. It's 4096. Remember that. All right, let's go over here and try an overlay. And you can see that dirtied up that brick quite a bit. See? Now it's not so perfect. So here's what it looked like before and then after. And you can keep doing this. I mean, there is no right answer for this stuff. Let's say I wanted to use this blue stuff. There's some blue in here already. So if I wanted to paste that in, scale it up. Now the one thing that might happen, where your UVs are not set up correctly for this, and if they're all over the place, it won't blend right. So you just got to be careful of that. What you have to have is your shells almost perfectly touching each other, or less seams, in order for this to work. And I'm just using my wheel mouse here. Now I got these cool purples. Wow. I like that. Oh, and that's nice too. I like that. Maybe toned down. Perfect. And that'll play well with this teal that's up in here. So what I'm going to do is save as, and I can save this as a different thing altogether. Instead of high res, I'll put high res cull for color. And that means I'll have to dig this out later on. In other words, I'll have to just use the one I'm using if it's whether it's color or the ordinary looking one, and pick one, but don't use both in the same directory. One's just going to take up space. So now I should be able to select, and I can select this dirtier one. And you can see now that dirtier one kind of brought it to, you know, a happy medium between the generated texture and the photorealistic texture. And that's how I do that. But you just got to be careful. Sometimes you have to upscale the resolution of this just so it fits all together. I kind of like this look. Besides, I have a few more things I have to put in the scene that'll take away from that. but I really like how dirty this looks now. This side needs to be smaller, I think. All right. Well, I just wanted to share with you my process of dirtying up textures to get them all kind of looking a little bit grungy. And let's move on to the next video.